All right, Pete, let's get into the ATM here. So for those who don't know, and I think most of you probably follow us pretty close. Um, I am the owner of a website called CanesInsight.com. Let's give you the exact numbers, 498. So we're 2,000 away. We're a Wingo commitment away from 7.5 million post and counting. Let's pull up the website right here so you guys can see what it looks like. Oh, you got it up there, Pete. Yeah, so I got the website. And then on there, I will post for free. Everything's free to sign up. Just go there, sign up for free. Giant Canes community, plus you get exclusive news. I'll post the bank, which usually will tell you about recruiting stuff before it happens. Most exclusive info for free anywhere on the internet. So I didn't have enough for a full bank today, but I talked to some sources. So I got to drop the ATM. It's called a mini bank. Just quick tidbits I wanted to talk about. So Wingo, you heard about that. But here's one thing I want to add to this. I think Miami has a great chance to get Samori Wingo. That would be my prediction, but we'll see how it goes. I think Miami has a great chance to get him. I think he'd be a very good player for us. That does not, I repeat, does not preclude us from getting a fourth wide receiver, specifically Tristan Keys, 5-star out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Miami is going to make that run at Tristan Keys. They already have been recruiting. He's been on campus multiple times. He's been to South Florida itself 4 times since March or since January. So Miami is going to go all in on Tristan Keys while also trying to land an excellent player in Samori Wingo. So I wouldn't look at it like Samori Wingo is taking a Tristan Keys spot or anything like that. In fact, I think Miami very likely could end up with 4 wide receivers in this class. And if you're talking about the 4th wide receiver, if you do land Wingo today, start the list at the top. Number 1 player, number 1 receiver in the country, maybe the number 1 player, who knows? Tristan Keys, the 5-star out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So that one's still very much alive. Last I heard, these things go back and forth. 2 weeks ago when I reported, I think that the motion was going more towards Texas A&M, Tennessee. Miami is going to take their swing there. They already have been, but it's going to continue. So keep an eye on a Tristan Keys. The other prediction I had here, along with Wingo's, I think we're going to add another player. I don't know who it is. Look, Brett Kaloje, big money kind of battle there with USC and some others. We'll see where that one goes. There's a few balls in the air, but I do think we add one more player on top of Wingo if we get Wingo today. So I would say that's the prediction. We're going to add, I think we'll add Wingo. I don't know that for sure, but that'd be my prediction. And then I think we would also land another player. One guy and this is not, I'm not saying I'm predicting this player to Miami, but one guy to keep an eye on here, Cortez Redding. We haven't talked about him a lot. 4-star out of Atlanta, visited unofficially, also visited officially. Much of the focus has been on Tyreek Green going to Georgia, Blake Stewart going to Clemson. Obviously, those guys were big targets. Cortez Redding has a lot of fans in Miami. He's not the biggest guy, but he's not tiny. And he's a 4-star player. He's got a lot of talent, athletic, hits hard, knows how to play. So he's one guy. I'm not predicting him to go to Miami. I could see us kind of how with Wingo, you saw that push. I could see that with a Redding just because he has really a lot of fans and a lot of ability. Derek Cooper. I would pick Derek Cooper today to Texas if I had to pick. But just being around this game and kind of knowing some of the stuff I know, I could see this one swinging a couple times before Sunday. There's just a lot of time until Sunday. I think Texas. I do, based on what I know. But this is not one that I just put the prediction in and sit for a week. I think this is one that there's a lot of communication going on with a lot of different parties. So I would just say that one's kind of a moving situation right now. But look, if I had to predict, it would be Texas. But keep an eye on that one. And I was saying keep an eye for Miami, although Miami is, in communication with Cooper. I would say keep an eye on everybody. I mean, they are communicating at a high level, let's say. I talked about a lot of these guys on Team Buzz, so I'm going to make sure there's no one I haven't talked about. But one name that keeps being brought up to me, Kellen Wiley Jr., out of Sefner Armwood, the freshman that Miami stole on signing day from University of Texas, where he was going to go join that number 1 class, ends up flipping to Miami. Huge late bloomer, was a 3-star player, ended up being a 4-star player by the end. Really, I think he was like a no-star player. I mean, no one knew about this guy. Then out of nowhere, he's a 4-star by the end of the year because he's so talented. I'm told he's one of the biggest size speed freaks on the team. And I said, well, obviously it's an adjustment. Is he going to contribute year one? And the response I heard was he has to. He's just too talented that he's going to find a way to get on the field year one. So Kellen Wiley, someone to keep an eye on as a freshman. I'm just trying to kind of rack my brain. Again, we talked about this on the Team Buzz segment we did a couple of days ago, but continue to get a lot of talk about Motore, just how he's going through conditioning, his speed, his movement skills. That is a name that is just extremely buzzy when it comes to the transfer portal. I think in general, one thing I heard was, listen, you guys are going to see, because I have not seen these players because spring they were not there. So really no one's seen them except for the people in that building. But what I was told was, guys, this spring portal window was a much bigger hit than people realize. I can't say that's true or not. I have not seen them in practice yet. Like I saw, like I was able to see, some of the guys that came in the first portal window, so I could hype those guys up that I like because I saw them. When it comes to and just to be specific, Keelan Marion from BYU, Tony Johnson from Cincinnati, a wide receiver, both those guys. Who else do we bring in spring? Keontae Scott at that nickel corner, Jacoby Thomas, the safety from Tennessee, Motore, the linebacker from Rutgers, Kamal Bonner, the linebacker from NC State. Anybody else missing? About the kicker in as well, Bert Auburn. Anybody else missing, Pete, that we brought in from the spring? Oh, Marty Brown, that running back. So I'm told those names are very, very interesting.
Yeah, Marty.
And they're generating a lot of
Marty. I'm pumped about Marty. We talked about it recently, but I think he's going to be a big part of what this offense does.
And they need to perform. Obviously, I see him, but the word I'm getting is keep an eye for the spring guys. Those are going to be a hit. You guys don't know yet because you're not seeing them, but these guys are going to be a hit. So these are just things that I've heard as we get ready. And Birdstone saying 2 weeks away from fall camp. Let's go. Birdstone also very wise words. Let the Cooper thing play out. You never know what may happen. My only prediction on the Cooper thing is that I don't predict it to be a smooth sail. Like I don't see it being he commits to Texas here on Sunday and then he signs with Texas and there's no drama. I just have that one feels to me like something will happen at some point, whether it's now here between now and Sunday, whether it's between Sunday and signing day, we'll see. I know Miami's going to be in there for a while. But look, finances are involved, balancing a lot of different things. You got to figure it all out. But yeah, keep an eye on that situation. I don't know how it's going to go. I'll tell you that with honesty. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how many people do. Base Duran saying Will Funk logged the crystal ball for going to Miami. So yeah, that one's looking like there's momentum building there, and I think will be a great pickup. So good comment from Bo Handsome. I want to get to the last portal cycle. We went from getting roster fillers for depth to guys who actually will be key contributors and get heavy snaps. And Pete, I want you to talk about this as well. But I think as you go from having to fill the roster because it's so bad, where you just need bodies at certain spots, to now having recruits that you actually like and want to see play, that's allowing us to increase the quality of what we're doing.
I think we should give a little more credit to the last portal cycle as well. Wait, are we talking about last year or the one in December?
I think he's just talking. I think he's saying.
I mean, listen, we got the number one pick of the draft. We got
I think he said that
drafted running.
This last portal cycle. Well, maybe I don't know what he's talking about, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you got the number one pick of the draft. You got an all ACC defensive tackle who wasn't drafted, but he was an all ACC defensive tackle. You got a drafted running back who was your number one back. I want to give a little bit more credit. I don't want to say that. I think you're gonna, unfortunately, have roster fillers in every single portal class you take. You did pretty well last year. You didn't get all your needs. You didn't get the corners you needed, but let's give a little bit more credit to that group. I don't want to down them, D.
No, I appreciate you saying that, and I agree with you. In terms of you can't down, like this started.
Tyler Barron was brought in with the expectation to not be a roster filler, and he definitely started where there was disappointment. But like I wouldn't classify him as a roster filler at the time either. So let's pump the brakes a little bit on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, this has not been, I agree with the premise but I don't think it's been like overnight. I think it's been a steady, like your first class, you just really were triaging. And then as it goes, the portals get more and more talented. And here, I'll give you an example. So 2024, so Mario got in here 2022, right? So the 3 draft picks, Tyreek Stevenson, transfer under Manny, Will Mallory, DJ Ivy, guys that signed with Rick. Then 2024, you had 2 transfers in that class. Matt Lee and Jaden Davis, both 7th rounders, but they both were drafted. Jaden Davis, a transfer from Oklahoma. Matt Lee, a transfer from UCF. Then you go to last year. Obviously, Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick. Francisco Mauanoa, Kiko Mauanoa, 5th round pick to the Jets. Tyler Barron, 5th round pick to the Jets. Damian Martinez, 7th round pick to the Seattle Seahawks. By the way, I heard they love him there, and I heard they love Arroyo. They think Arroyo's the rookie of the year.
So no, I told you, Marty. I told that the other day. Martinez has gotten himself in tremendous shape.
Yeah, and he's a tough runner. We know that. So if just by my math, Ward, Mauanoa, Barron, Martinez, Jaden Davis, Matt Lee. So Cristobal, this is Cristobal, just since he's been here, 6 players that are portal guys that have been drafted. So that's pretty interesting, I think. 6 portal guys getting drafted already. And now, who knows who's going to get drafted out of this portal group that you just brought in. I think Carson Beck, if he has any kind of season, has a chance to be one of those guys. We'll see. But that to me shows you that you're continuing to add not just guys that can fill out a roster, but guys that have NFL ability. And the upside is number 1 overall, which is Cam Ward. So you're getting the like all the way up and down that draft portal guys.
Brian says, I'd like to see some data on portal commits versus high school commits and which player type produces more would be a cool metric to know. We've done some, I wouldn't call them studies, but I know D, you've done some stuff recently, and earlier in the off season, kind of on like how important it is to be successful in both the portal and high school. But I think that sort of data will now become more available here in the next year or two, once we have 4 or 5 years of this portal, right? Because the data is still a bit limited. And I think for every team, it's going to be a different situation. A lot of these guys who were high school recruits at one place were successful at one place and then ended up being successes as a transfer as well. So you got to kind of say, okay, maybe the smaller school guys, the guys who weren't high P4, and then you look at the other group of players. And then you have the other group of players who maybe weren't great as high school recruits at other programs and then go to another program and become successes. So it's going to be an interesting thing to look back at, though.
And these things change. So, like I would say the portal's so new that it's got to kind of just fill out a little bit, get some more data. And also like, remember, like everybody goes in the portal. So like the guys that we don't want and that like are like the worst player on our team that jumps in the portal, that's a portal player for someone else. So that I would say the better comparison, Brian, and you raise an interesting point. And I think this would be something when we have more time, you can kind of do it better, is like, let's say, how do 4-star portal commits, and the portal ratings are evolving as well. But let's say, how does a 4-star portal commit compare to a 4-star high school recruit? What's that number? And I would bet, if I had to guess, my hypothesis would be portal would be better because they're 4 stars based on things that they've already done in college, whereas a 4-star in high school is total projection. I know a 4-star player in high school is less than 25% chance to go to the NFL. Which is why, by the way, when people say, like, when I talk about somebody, Pete, like we always talk about like just to use examples, like a John Ford, a Jaden Davis, a DJ Ivy, and they're like, oh, Matt Lee, they're like 7th round pick. Who cares about a 7th round pick? There's a less than 25% chance that a blue chip player goes to the NFL. So if you are a NFL player, even as a 7th rounder, you are in the top 25% of 4-star players, really a blue chip players. So that's a pretty good outcome, right? Because blue chips already, the odds are in your favor. Then you're in the top 25% of that. I'd say that's a pretty good outcome. So I think people need to understand why we use NFL measurements so much. And if Brian, I think when we have more time, just more data in the bank, maybe 5 years from now, still be doing this show, still be going daily. CanesInSight.com will probably have 30 million posts and counting. But we'll do a breakdown like that, I think. Bo Hansen clarifying, I agree with him. He said, that was my point. The amount of talent in our portal additions have progressively increased each year from 2022 to now, from 2 to 3 good players to now having 4 to 5 good pickups.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that every year you gotta move it forward. And then eventually, yes, you don't want the number to keep going up every year, because that means you're struggling in high school recruiting. But the portal's here to stay, man. I don't agree with the sentiment that we shouldn't be aggressive in the portal. It's just not realistic in today's day and age.
Yep. Over 1,000 people, over 1,100, almost 1,200 on. Like and subscribe to the show if you're new. Raising a Cane wants to know, Pete, how excited are you for basketball? All the hype videos they're showing to the squad this year.
Yeah, shout out to there's a new SID, Evan Roberts, who's taken over. But Megan Barnes, who was the previous SID, told me earlier this summer, she said, we are going to make it a point to be a lot more aggressive on social media in terms of connect. Because last year, I think there was an issue with this 2D. You had an entirely new roster, and I don't think, not that it really mattered. Like, the team was so bad last year, but there was not really an introduction period for the fan base, which is, I think in football we see, like, we tend to know a lot more about the transfers coming in, because I think there's more media stuff out there about them, and more interviews and stuff like that. So I'm excited now. They've been miking up a lot of these guys. You get to see their personalities in play. And like I said, today I will be in the facility this afternoon. We're getting interviews with Malik Renau. I'm going to confirm that's how you pronounce the name. I've heard it both ways. Trey Donaldson. I'm really excited to talk to Trey Donaldson about this football side, D, because he was a 4-star recruit committed to Auburn. And I didn't realize this, but going back and looking at it, when he committed to Auburn, the expectation from the fan base was he's coming for football. He's not here to play basketball. And then he didn't even play football. Then you look at his Instagram page, there's nothing about football. It's all basketball. So I want to get the story there, see, his mentality. Obviously, he's built kind of like a football player. We could have used some of that physicality at safety this year on the depth chart. So I'm excited to kind of get that backstory. He went to Florida State University High in Tally. So that's the other thing, kind of hear his backstory. Did he grow up as a Knoll? His mom played softball at Florida State, from what I've seen too. So that should be a good one. And then Ernest Ude, I think just seeing videos of him moving around, it's a big physical athlete who can get up and down the floor. And he's a vet. This is not a young kid who, sometimes these big guys, like the trenches in football, they aren't physically ready to bang in there. And I think he's ready to go. So excited to talk to those three guys. Of course, all the basketball coverage brought to you by Aries Law. Check out Aries Law. PA.com. Schedule a free consultation. This is estate planning. So trusts, wills, probate. Again, set your free consultation. You can do it online or in person. His office is in Coral Gables, headed towards Brickell. So AriesLawPA.com.
No, looking forward to those interviews and just seeing the kind of mentality. I get the sense these guys are going to be pretty aggressive type of dudes in a good way, like just good character guys. Jay Lucas has been so focused on adding defensive-minded players, grit. I mean, it's very much the Heat model where people say Heat culture, but the Heat bring in guys that have that mentality. By the way, here's Trey Donaldson right here, number 2. Let's see how, boom. Let's go. Let's see. All right, some physicality. Let's go. This is an old clip too. I think this might have been earlier in his career. They see him playing safety. Yeah, this guy would have been.
I'm telling you, he was a top 200 recruit in football. He was a highly rated 4-star recruit. So it's I don't know, man.
I'm watching one clip, and I hate to be the person to say this, but you know what I'm gonna say. He should have played, dude. I mean, look at this guy. This guy is sick. I mean, that was just that one play. He ball was behind him, catches it with his hands, breaks a million tackles, takes it to the house. He's huge in basketball, he's a smaller guard, but in football, safety wise, he's 6'1" plus.
People are going to sign on here live now and be like, man, we got a new safety we're recruiting. I wish we could have him in this class, man. He's better than half the guys have been recruiting.
So this people don't, Trey dude. So this is a Trey Donaldson is the Michigan transfer at point guard, big time transfer from Miami's
Started his
basketball
career
team.
at Auburn, actually, and committed to them for football. Look at that.
This guy should have played football. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I'm excited to see him play basketball. I think he's gonna be a great player for us. But I mean, dude, if
This
I would,
Trinity Christian, look at this. This is against Trinity Christian here.
Yep. If I would have seen these highlights in high school, I'd be going.
Look at him. Look at him coming. Look at him track him down.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, this guy is a real football player. I mean, I don't know what.
I gotta get the story, man. I'm telling you, because like I went through his Instagram and he doesn't have a single football picture. So I don't know if he was just all basketball and. But the way he's playing the game, he doesn't play the game of football like a guy who doesn't look at him. I mean, this is not like a guy. Yeah, crazy.
Man, now I'm kind of like sad that this guy's not on our team right now. Imagine this guy at safety for the Canes.
Listen, he's on campus, man. Who knows what could happen? Maybe he says he wants to give it one more go next year.
Can you imagine this guy next to Poyser? He'd be getting one-hand interceptions, knocking people out.
You know who did that? Remember Ray Shipman?
Yes, his sister is an attorney at my law firm. Very smart lady. Shout out to Raina.
So yeah, remember he started his career at Florida as a basketball player, had an okay career, and then ended up playing safety at USF his last year.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's funny. I know his sister very well. Like I said, she's an attorney at my firm, Raina Shipman. But man, this dude right here.
That's right. He was a quarterback too, by the way.
I like that he's playing basketball for the Canes, and he's going to make a huge impact.
UCF. Ric Flair said UCF. UCF. Sorry.
Yeah. But I like that this guy's playing for the Cane basketball hoops, because he's going to make a major difference just with his toughness and the big shot making, which you saw in Michigan. This guy was a big shot maker for him in big games last year. So I am very happy that he's wearing orange and green in some uniform. But man, I am blown away by his safety highlights. Like he looks like
he legitimately looks better than a lot of the guys that they've recruited this year.
I mean, all of them. All of them. If I were to see these highlights, I could tell you, and it's like I would have him at the top, knowing that he played basketball too. Because I mean, he's his size in football is plus. He's knocking people out. He's taking interceptions to the house. There you see it again. Yeah, I'd probably have him. I'd have him over Blake Stewart. I'd have him over Tyree Green. I'd have him over Redding. I'd have him over every safety we're after, just based on these highlights. I haven't seen him live or anything, but just based on these highlights, and knowing that he had that background of basketball as well.
Listen, when I talk to him today, I'm gonna show him this segment so we can show him our breakdown of his football highlights.
Listen, if you're wondering why me and Pete are so focused on basketball players, it's because like this guy who doesn't even play football, his football highlights are better than 95% of the DBs we're recruiting. And you never even would have thought of it. These guys are just such good athletes. Plus, they have size. In basketball, he's not an undersized point guard. He's got more than enough size for ACC point guard. He's 6'2". He's strong. Actually, I say he has good size for an ACC point guard. But in safety, he's like plus NFL size as a safety. And then the physical part of the game is no issue there.
Any last recruiting pitch, D?
No, listen. I mean, I don't know the rules. Like what his eligibility status is, because he's an older guy. These are 2020 highlights, so he's been around for a minute. But listen, I think, I'm trying to think of guys that have played safety, kind of moonlighting. Who was that? You wouldn't know this in the comments. I know Brian Jordan was a guy, doesn't get talked about as far as like the greatest athletes in the history of sports, but Brian Jordan. And I hope I'm not butchering the name.
You are getting upset now. Green Tree All America says, send the film to Mario and Heatherman. What are we doing?
Seriously. So Brian Jordan, who's was a stud baseball player, right fielder. I remember he was always like too jacked for his uniform. For the Atlanta Braves, was a right fielder, very talented, over 30 career WAR, so like a legitimate stud baseball player. He actually played safety for the Falcons for a while and was a good. He might have been all rookie team as a Falcon and playing safety. So, the safety is not a position you think of just showing up and playing, but I think of a Brian Jordan would be my example of someone who's just like, all right, let me play football. Then he goes to, he played in college too. So it wasn't just out of nowhere, but Brian Jordan was able to play NFL safety while also being full-time in a sport like baseball and being actually like a legitimate stud major leaguer. Like, I think he made, how many All-Star teams did Brian Jordan make in baseball? Oh, just one. But I mean, he finished top 20 in MVP voting 3 times. I mean, career WAR 33, legitimate player. Shout out to and a first round pick in baseball as well. So shout out to Brian Jordan out of the University of Richmond. How did he play football from the University of Richmond? Am I thinking of the right guy? Now I got to make sure I'm not talking about the wrong guy. He did. Yeah, it was Brian Jordan. He went from the University of Richmond. I thought he went to a bigger school. Yeah, look at this, man. That's crazy.
Spiders.
He had 5. Look at this. I thought he was at a bigger school. So listen to this guy. First round of the MLB draft, taken in the 7th round of the football draft from Richmond. He got cut by the Bills, and he goes to the Falcons for really just 3 years. 5 picks and 4 sacks. Alternate in the Pro Bowl. Led Atlanta Falcons in tackles. We got to talk more about Brian Jordan, man, as one of the best athletes around.
Almost 1,300 live here. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're live every day, Monday through Friday, really release Monday through Sunday now, with everything that's been going on. Brandon, I don't know if those basketball interviews will be up tonight. We might like debut one of them tomorrow and then post them throughout the weekend. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to post those tonight.
Christian Vale, Jimmy Graham played basketball senior year after playing that one season on the football team. Now he's borderline Hall of Fame kind of guy. Yep. Dominic saying Jalen Suggs played quarterback and safety as well, but chose basketball. That's right. And I think now he didn't play in college because he was already a top 10 pick. So Jalen Suggs made sense to play basketball because he was that high of a basketball prospect. Top 10 pick, you play basketball. But yeah, I do. He kind of reminds me. I think I made this comp when he actually committed. Pete was Jalen Suggs. Not saying he's as good as Jalen Suggs, but just body wise, like being a stronger, tougher player. I saw some similarities with Trey Donaldson to Suggs as you get your basketball situation set up here. A big day of interviews. William Crow saying as a Braves fan back in the day, Brian Jordan gets overshadowed by Deion. Yeah, man. Honestly, I remember him as a baseball player, so I was shocked to find out that he played football and was an alternate for the Pro Bowl and only played 3 years and bounced at safety. I mean, that shows you just great athletes are great athletes, man. Yeah, there's a learning curve, but at the end of the day, if you're the best, you're the best, and it doesn't take you long to be the best. So Trey Donaldson, man, you want to do a kind of a Brian Jordan situation, a moonlighted safety, holler at Coach Etheridge and Coach Harris after the season goes, unless you get picked in the first round because you led Miami to the ACC championship, and in which case I apologize. We got to keep that main thing the main thing for now. But man, those are some impressive highlights. We got sidetracked. We weren't even supposed to talk about all that, but that was that caught my attention.
There you go. I mean, it was very entertaining, I have to say.
Yeah, man. So now you got material for your interviews, which again you're going to post them on CanesInSight. Wanted to talk also here Saturday, guys. Set your calendars. Major event. 1 to 2 p.m. at the Miami Hurricane team store. It's going to be an autograph signing. Let me pull it up here. Oh, where we go. But yeah, 1 to 2 autograph signing at Miami Hurricane team store right across the street from the University of Miami. So you know where University of Miami is. You know where the team store is right across the street. And look at this, guys. 1 to 2 p.m. David Blay, Bobby Pruitt, JoJo Trader, Marquise Williams, autographs, pictures, you name it, they're at the team store 1 to 2 p.m. on Saturday. These are great events. People have been in the comments, like I know Johnny Lagoon's been on those, enjoys those. It's great to see how good these kids are and having them interact with your family. And it's just a lot of fun. It's not like a huge crowd where there's plenty of people there, but it's not like, this giant convention where everybody's just kind of running through like a factory, much more personal touch. Plus you're there in the team store, so you can get all kinds of stuff. Promo code INSIGHT20 get you 20% off your first item. So check out the team store Saturday, 1 to 2 p.m. And remember to like and subscribe to the show. Got over 1,200 on as we get into my favorite segment, reviewing the recruiting classes.